Obviously, our performance in U.S. commercial is extraordinary. Some would say bombastic. The numbers that just fly off the screen are the 70% year-on-year growth in Q4. The numbers that I almost had to turn the page when I saw them were the over 100 contracts over $1 million, 37 over 5, and 21 roughly over $10 million. It's almost inconceivable to do that many contracts given the way our product used to be. And so what you see is a convergence of our product being easier to use, an augmentation of its charisma, both driven by developments in AI, large language models, which make the product approachable, Foundry, to the broader market. You also see just this enormous demand and our ability to meet that demand with a new piloting approach that we call boot camp. So we went 2 years ago, we did 92 pilots. And last year, really mostly the second half of the year, we did over 500 boot camps. I go around the country now telling CEOs, CTOs, and really whoever has $1 million to buy our product and transform their enterprise, take everything you've done in AI since you started, put your best people on it, and we're going to show up at any time you want, and we're going to run your data at a boot camp for 10 hours. And then you compare your self-pleasuring to our operationally relevant, commercially valuable, critical to your enterprise results. Our 10 hours, your 10 months. Any products you want, any vendor you want, any hyperscaler you want, you pick them, we'll show up. The reaction to this, because what America has obviously realized is this is real. But if you took the total number of people, total number of enterprises that are doing AI of any kind, including algebra, and said it would be probably less than the 300. We have 300 customers that are creating operational results using our AIP product. Operational meaning, define it how you want. I'm defining it as they'll pay $1 million or more for it. So it's real. And we're doing this at a scale and pace that is inconceivable for Palantir up until recently. So you just have number after number after number, interface after interface. There are some caveats. Europe has decided that they are not going to engage in this revolution. There are other caveats for our society. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but the winners are going to win more. This is a revolution for incumbents that have distribution and already strong products, which is why we're massively outperforming. There's some caveats for us internally. We're having to rebuild the whole system, our whole company, to deal with this demand. We have a latent, nascent sales force that has put its tiny toe in the water and is noticed it can move around. We have to build that into a strong, aggressive machine. There's some positive caveats. We're doing this our way. We are proud of our work on the front. We are proud that we support the U.S. We are proud that we support the U.S. military. We are proud to have an operational, crucial role in Ukraine. And I am exceedingly proud that after October 7th, within weeks, we were on the ground, and we are involved in operationally crucial operations in Israel. I know of no other software company in the world that has been engaged by Ukraine and Israel, or in general, I'm not sure they have bought software from any other company at our scale. These are momentous events built on the back of a 20-year assumption that software would define our reality. The winners would be those that understood software, rejecting linear, narrow, sales-driven software, Frankenstein monster infrastructures that have been so historically popular for investment in Silicon Valley, rejecting sophism as not only approach to business, meaning I only say what I believe if it doesn't matter, or I never say what I believe. Those assumptions have seeped into our products, whether they're a military product or they're Foundry or Ontology or AIP. They also, by the way, for those listening who think our strategy is crazy, many of your best people are applying to Palantir now. So while we may be crazy, we are being bombarded by people who want to work at this company. Bombarded. I cannot, a day does not go by where I'm not getting a call, an email, 50 attempts to get into our company. We are white hot in recruiting. We're a 20-year company with the strongest recruiting I've ever seen from a company that's historically had the strongest recruiting in the most competitive environment in the world, Silicon Valley. That is because we stand behind our values and because we intend to win with those values, which we're proving. So this was an extraordinary last year. We also took care of making sure we're aligned internally on comp. We are streamlining our events, the way we go to market. And I would also say from the perspective as the leader of our movement, nominally called the CEO of our company, we have never been this aligned internally. We are a company that engages the most talented, interesting, and difficult people in the world. Some of them are at this table. And there has never been a time where we have been this motivated, this in unison, and this proud of our company and our accomplishments. And so I'm proud to be proud with them, and we are going to keep on our efforts. And I foresee a very, very strong year, especially in U.S. commercial. I would also say the strength of our U.S. commercial and the strength of our products being used in the most difficult and most important war zones in the world is going to have a handoff function into USG, and I'm optimistic that handoff function will happen, and we will be as successful there as we are in USCOM. Now, one of the coolest things about going to these meetings is it used to be 3-4 years ago, you could predict who was going to like us and who wasn't, and it's just not anymore. You go to these meetings and they'll often be the IT person telling the CEO, like, look, we have no choice. We need to install this quickly. And so there's a cultural shift in the U.S. I don't think it's outside the U.S. the case, but inside the U.S., people in IT are responsible for business value. This creates business value. And they're often responsible for global business value. They're not that interested in putting together a PowerPoint and showing how that could work in theory. They've got to show themselves, their company, their workers, that they're going to get actual revenue, either driving or quality of revenue driving results quickly. And they are almost exclusively now our friends. Maybe they can talk to some analysts. Like we can convert you guys too. The core thesis of Palantir was always the reality of a disjointed, violent world forces Pareto optimal conditions on institutions. So I believe that everyone knows we have the best software in the world. It may not matter in a non-dangerous environment, but it did matter in Ukraine and Israel, and who did they buy? It does matter. Our software is running I'll never know what I'm allowed to say, but in among the most critical places in the DoD. If we are forced to fight a three-pronged war, you cannot do that even from a perspective of keeping our munitions ready without accurate software. So the more dangerous, the more real it gets, the more battle-tested and real your software has to be. I believe it's about to get very real. Why? Because our GDP growth is significantly better than China's. Now, I know the always wrong crowd says we then should get peace, but I'm telling you that the rational result of the rational consequence of that is our adversaries are like, America's going to be stronger tomorrow than today. It's like they don't have a GDP story because they do not build these systems as well as we do. They do not have the tech community we do, and they do not have the U.S. market like we do. Look at our results. And so as this becomes more and more dangerous, every company in the world, whether they're small, big, whether they're a startup, whether they're one of the largest primes, or whether us, is going to have to actually prove their software works on the battlefield. We love that. We want to prove, and we welcome and relish proving environments. If it was up to me, software would only be deployed at America and Western allies if it was proven on the battlefield. Unfortunately, for us, our adversaries are going to force that kind of adjudication. And how do we? And then and for those of you who can't evaluate that because you don't have access to our software on the battlefield, though you could read the news and see what Israel has done and what Ukraine has done, look what's happening in U.S. commercial. You have a completely rational environment where we're deploying and growing the way we're growing with almost no sales force. And it's because it really matters. And when it really matters, the fact that they may not like my jokes or my habits, it will protect your life. And that's why we're going to do well. Just like we do these AIP conferences, I think we invited you and your team. We can't do enough of them. We're limiting the number of people who can come. It's like a rock concert. It's like, yeah, if you know somebody, we can get you in the back. We can get you backstage. You know, it's. By the way, for those of you who are evaluating our company, we are going to invite all of you to our boot camps. Please use, as you did, but like take a look at the software. It's like we are not arguing in the abstract or in a PowerPoint or according to what you may have learned at business school that is better. We are arguing that it is better. And there's no other way to show that but to do it. But to your question, yeah, like we're already overfilled for our AIP boot camp, and it's just we don't know how to deal actually with this demand, and so we're rebuilding the company. We have a lot of employees in Germany and France. I'm telling them it's time to pack up and come to America. I'm telling our hiring, we are hiring here. We are having, as I mentioned, a bonanza in people wanting to work here because people are, quite frankly, tired of working for people who seemingly only have an opinion when it doesn't matter and with products that may not work. We're looking at, I'm getting personally involved in the recruiting again to get more people, but exactly the right people. And we're going to scale against the demand. But it's a real thing. We are fighting for the West and its allies to be stronger. And I very much appreciate your support. At this company, we think about our investors. Our most important investors are at Palantir. Our second most important investors are people investing their own money. And we relish your support. And it gives us a lot of motivation. I meet individual investors every time I go to a customer, basically. And I've had individual investors I've met at 2, 3 a.m. on a VTC, and I ask them, well, why are you working at 3 a.m. to make your enterprise better in AIP or Foundry? And they basically all say the same thing, because Palantir is fighting for my rights and my liberty. And we are fighting for your rights and your liberty, and we are going to continue to fight for that the way we do that, which is by delivering the best products to our allies, by hurting our adversaries, and by giving U.S. commercial the strength it needs to massively outperform every other country in the world. So thank you.